for any company, it is a must to understand whether or not it is going in the right direction. And this is not the case for company. This happens to every individual also. In whatever decisions he or she is taking, they want to know whether we are going in the right direction. What are the mechanisms that a company uses to understand whether our operations have been going in the right direction? One of these mechanisms is variance analysis, which in common parlance is referred to as standard costing. Now, what is standard costing? Why is it called as standard? What are we trying to achieve? Let's talk about that later. First, let us understand that in the beginning, there is nothing. There is only an expectation. Please understand this word. There is only an expectation. Now, what do I mean by expectation and what do I mean by beginning? By beginning, I mean beginning of the respective activity period. This can be the year, this can be the quarter, this can be the semi-annual period, it can be a month, it can be absolutely any period in which operational activities are going to be undertaken. At the beginning of the period, the management of any company says, basis our analysis of the demand, basis our analysis of the market scenario, we expect to sell XYZ number of units. It is on the basis of this XYZ number of units that the company will estimate, they will estimate their revenues and their costs. By revenues, in simple parlance, I mean sales. And by cost, I mean all those costs that are necessary for the purpose of manufacturing activity. These costs can be period costs or they can be product costs, which are generally variable in nature. By variable product costs, I mean they will talk about their direct materials, they will talk about their direct labor, they will talk about their variable overheads. By period costs, I mean they will speak about their fixed manufacturing overheads. Needless to say that when I'm talking about variable overheads, they are of the manufacturing nature and activity. So, at the beginning of the period, there is nothing. The management says, let there be sales. And lo and behold, we look at how much sales the company estimates or expects to make. This estimation or this expectation is not a reality. It is not a reality. As I said, it is either an expectation or it is either an estimation. On the basis of this estimation, the company now expects, or you can say predicts, or you can say estimates what their total sales are going to be. What their total profits are going to be. The process of setting this expectation Making this prediction or this estimate is called as building a budget. It's called as building a budget. And this processing is known as budgeting. It is known as budgeting. So essentially, what the management does at the beginning of the period is an activity called as budgeting. It's an activity called as budgeting is what the management does at the starting of the period. But my dear friends, it is as good as saying that I expect this to happen and I expect that to happen. I'll give you a very recent example of sports that you have seen. When we played against Afghanistan, a very valiant country who fights very hard in the sport of cricket, it was expected that India will win the cricket match against the Afghanis. And we did. Afghanistan had a flourish in their performance. I don't say no. At certain phases, they looked excellent. But then, as expected, India won. As expected. Unfortunately for our not so friendly neighbors, when Pakistan faced Afghanistan, it was expected that Pakistan, who are a world champion in 92, have won the 2020 World Cup once, will make short work of Afghanistan. And they had done so in the past. They had never lost to Afghanistan in the past. So it was expected by all the greats of world cricket that Pakistan will beat Afghanistan. But unfortunately, what actually happened was quite different from what was predicted by the experts of cricket. Afghanistan valiantly fought against Pakistan and they defeated a champion country in cricket with just their spirit and determination. And of course, a magnificent performance in cricket. There arises no doubt about this. So what actually happened in the case of Pakistan was quite different from what they predicted. And what actually happened in the case of India was quite similar to what they predicted. So what actually happens, you cannot say on the day of building the budget, on the day of doing the budgeting, you cannot say what is going to happen. You just cannot say. If anybody wants to, they can take screenshots of this particular first page of our discussion. It's conceptual. Now, as I said, you cannot say what will happen. Once the operations begin. So you can start off by saying that I want a sales of 10,000 units. This is what you have budgeted. And the actual reality could be such that you have attained a sales of 12,000 units. Or maybe this is say actual A and this is say actual B, you get a sales of say 8,000 units only. This is good for you and this is bad for you. Why is this good for you? This is good for you because it exceeds your expectations. Rather, I would say it either meets / exceeds your expectation. Here, it falls below your expectation. Keep one thing in mind. Whenever I talk about sales, I only talk about two things: units sold and selling price per unit. I can predict how many units I want to sell. I can predict at how much I would like to sell it, but how much I actually went out there and sold is going to be different from the predictions. So when I talk about sales, or rather when I talk about a revenue generating activity, when actual results are greater than budgeted estimates, meaning when I actually sold 12,000 units and I expected to sell 10,000 units, I would like to conclusively state that this is good. Yes or no, please tell me that. Do you agree with this statement? All in favor, give me a thumbs up. That you expected to sell 10,000, you sold 12,000 and came back. This was good for you. All in favor, kindly give me a thumbs up that we understand this particular statement. Understand this statement. Right, guys? You expected to sell 10, you sold 12 and you came back. So this was fantastic. This was good for you. This was good for you. Whatever is good in the terms of analysis is referred to as favorable. Whatever is good in the terms of analysis is referred to as favorable. Now, what analysis am I doing? My dear students, I am doing an analysis of what I expect versus what actually has happened. In simple words, क्या होना चाहिए था versus actually क्या हुआ. This is called analysis, and this analysis is called variance analysis. And this variance analysis is the chapter of standard costing. A mere comparison of what I expected and what has actually happened. Now, my dear friends, why is this important? If you can take a screenshot of this, I'd like to erase this bit. If what I actually expect has happened, please keep one thing in mind, it is good for me. And if what I actually expect has not happened, it is bad for me. Please keep this much in mind. If what I actually expect has happened, it is good for me. If what I actually expect has not happened, it is bad for me. Now, this in itself is the basis of understanding variances. In case of revenues, if your expectations are more than actual, it is bad. इसका मतलब ये है कि you are expecting to sell 10 units, but you actually sold 8 units. ये बुरा हुआ. आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे 10 यूनिट बेचूंगा, और आप बेच के आए केवल 8 यूनिट. ये बुरा हुआ. You are expecting to sell at the rate of 10 per unit, but you sold at the rate of 7 per unit. ये भी बुरा हुआ. तो रेवेन्यूज के केस में when the budget or the standard, another term for budget is standard, exceeds the actual, it is always bad, and bad in variance analysis is referred to as adverse. And bad in variance analysis is referred to as adverse. But in the case of revenues, when budget or standard is less than actual, in the case of revenues, it is actually good and it is called as favorable. For example, आप बोल रहे थे कि मैं बेच के आऊंगा 10 units, I'll sell 10 units, but you actually sold 12 units, which is good. You said that I will sell at the rate of 10 per unit, but you sold at the rate of 15 per unit, which is good because you earned more money. It is favorable. So in the case of revenues, you need to keep in mind that where budgeted or standard is greater than actual, it is bad or adverse. And in case of revenues where budgeted or standard is less than actual, it is good or it is favorable. Are there any doubts in this particular concept, which is a very simple logic कि अगर सेल्स और रेवेन्यू की बात की जाए तो अगर आप एक्सपेक्टेशन से कम करोगे तो बुरा होगा, और अगर आप एक्सपेक्टेशन से ज्यादा करोगे तो अच्छा होगा। आपने सोचा था 10 बेच के आऊंगा, आप 12 बेच के आए, ये बेहद अच्छा हुआ। आपने सोचा था 10 बेच के आऊंगा, आप 8 बेच के आए, ये बेहद बुरा हुआ। आपने सोचा कि मैं 15 में बेचूंगा और आप 20 में बेच के आए, ये अच्छा हुआ। आपने सोचा कि मैं 10 में बेचूंगा और मैं 8 में बेच के आया, ये बेहद बुरा हुआ। So revenues are going to be adverse where budgets exceed actual, and revenues are going to be favorable where actuals exceed budgets. Have we understood this particular concept of adverse and favorable for the area of revenues? If yes, please give me a thumbs up. If yes, please give me a thumbs up. Have we understood this? Everybody, you understanding this concept? I hope so. I hope so. I'm getting responses from a few. The rest, if you already know it, it's like a revision to you. If you have understood, please do let me know. If not, please unmute and speak up. Now, let's talk about costs. Always remember one thing. For any company, costs are either to be minimized or they are to be optimized. What do I mean by optimized? You need more value. And what is the meaning of minimize? Just outrightly reduce them. This particular topic of optimization and more value is qualitative in nature. It is qualitative in nature. Variance analysis does not deal with qualitative aspects. इस बात को याद रखिए। कहने का मतलब ये कि मैंने आफ्टर सेल सर्विस अच्छी दी, I've got a good customer relationship management process, I've got a good customer satisfaction kind of feedback mechanism, I appreciate, I'm very sure that these things cost money, and a company wants to spend money on value-added activities. There arises no doubt about this in the slightest. However, we are not bothered about this in variance analysis. For this, we have other chapters like value-added analysis, like benchmarking, business process reengineering, etc. We will discuss these aspects over there. In our standard costing, that is variance analysis, we are only concerned with quantitative aspects. We are only concerned with quantitative aspects. Please keep this much in mind. हमको सिर्फ quantitative aspects मतलब numerical aspects से ही लेना देना है। इससे ये फायदा होगा कि 5 सालों के बाद आपका बिजनेस मार्केट रेवेन्यू, आई एम सॉरी, दीज आर क्वालिटेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स। अब भी क्या नफा नुकसान है मुझे बताइए, आगे देखेंगे। These are quantitative aspects and only they are dealt with in standard costing or variance analysis. Please keep this much in mind. This has been an MCQ in the study materials of the publisher Sargent. This has been an MCQ in the study material of the publisher Sargent. Now, let us continue with our discussion. You may take a screenshot of this. It's an important aspect. Continue. Now, when I talk about cost, my idea for cost is only one thing: minimize it. Minimize it. Cost means what? You spend. Cost means what? You spend. If you spend less than expected, you are happy. You are happy. This is good. But if you spend more than expected, if you spend more than expected, you are sad. This is bad. You are sad and this is bad. So whenever your costs are less than expected, it is good, meaning it is favorable. So in case of cost, where expected is greater than actual, it will always be favorable. And in case of cost, where expected is less than actual, it is always adverse, because the meaning of this is you have spent more than expected. आप जो पकड़ के चले थे कि मेरा खर्चा इतना इतना होने वाला है, रियलिटी में खर्चा उससे ज्यादा ही हुआ है। आप जो सोच के निकले थे कि रियलिटी में खर्चा इतना इतना होगा, खर्चा उससे कम ही हुआ है, इसीलिए उसे फेवरेबल कहा जाता है। तो कॉस्ट के माध्यम से, कॉस्ट के लैंग्वेज में खर्च कितना होना चाहिए था, खर्च कितना होना चाहिए था वर्सेस खर्च एक्चुअली कितना हुआ है, ये कंपैरिजन हम करेंगे। अगर हमारे एक्सपेक्टेशंस एक्चुअल से ज्यादा रहे, इसका मतलब यही है कि जितना चाहिए था खर्चा होना उससे कम हुआ है, इट इज लेस देन एक्सपेक्टेड, तो ये हमेशा फेवरेबल रहेगा। यदि ये मोर देन एक्सपेक्टेड रहा तो इट वाज मोर देन एक्सपेक्टेड, तो ये ऑफ कोर्स एडवर्स ही होगा। आई होप ये पॉइंट सबको समझ में आया। एवरीबडी हैज अंडरस्टूड द एस्पेक्ट that in case of cost, when expectations exceed reality, it is favorable, but when realities exceed the expectations, it is adverse. Give me a thumbs up as far as this idea goes, or I'll give you a numerical thing. You budgeted that your cost was going to be 10 and actually your cost was 8, so you spent less. This is good, this is favorable. You expected your cost to be 10 but it was 12, you spent more. This is bad, this is unfavorable. I hope you are all with me on that. I hope you are all with me on that. And that everybody has understood how to identify a variance with respect to whether it is favorable or whether it is adverse. So adverse और favorable का concept सभी को अच्छी तरीके से समझा है is what I expect. Give me a thumbs up if this is the fact. If anybody requires a re-explanation, please let me know. I will provide a re-explanation for this particular concept again. Now, what will happen when you understand this? In standard costing, there will be various formulae you need to apply. The moment you look at the formula, you will be able to tell me whether it is adverse or favorable, because you would know the values that are going to be substituted and you will be able to do the right calculation. So favorable और adverse in this area आपको कभी भी दिक्कत होगी नहीं स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्टिंग में। ये पहला इंश्योरेंस हम लोग ले चुके हैं। अब आगे चलते। Please take a screenshot of this. Please take a screenshot of this. I am rubbing the screen now. Now, let us understand that when it comes to revenue, I am only looking at sale. And when it comes to cost, इसमें मैं direct material, direct labor, overheads, variable and fixed, ये deal करता हूं। Now, please understand in this particular aspect that direct materials, direct labor and variable overheads are period or product. They are product costs. What are they? They are product costs. They are variable in nature. And they apply a similar philosophy for the variance analysis. So, अगर आपको डायरेक्ट मटेरियल समझ में आया ना, पहला वाला जिसपे हम सबसे ज्यादा मेहनत लेंगे, ऑटोमेटिकली ऑटो पायलट आपको डायरेक्ट लेबर समझेगा। और जिधर डायरेक्ट लेबर और डायरेक्ट मटेरियल की बातें आपने फिक्स कर ली, मैं आपको आश्वासन देता हूं कि वेरिएबल भी यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इन अ वेरी वेरी गुड वे। सो आवर फर्स्ट जंप इज गोइंग टू बी डायरेक्ट मटेरियल। नाउ व्हाट इज द ऑर्डर दैट वी आर गोइंग टू फॉलो? Our order is going to be direct material variances, direct labor variances, variable overhead variances, sale variances, and finally we will do fixed overheads. This is going to be our order of completion of variance analysis. And once the concept is explained, we will do MCQs, which are theory and practical for both. Today is a conceptual discussion for direct materials, where we will only discuss the concept of direct materials. It's possible कि हम क्वेश्चन भी करें, लेकिन आज का फोकस सिर्फ और सिर्फ किस पे होगा? कॉन्सेप्ट पर होगा। तो कल के लेक्चर में आने से पहले आप ये कॉन्सेप्ट का वीडियो देख के आएंगे और उसमें मेरे साथ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करेंगे। आपका डायरेक्ट मटेरियल खत्म हो जाएगा। दैट इज द वे दैट वी गो अबाउट इट। Kindly take a screenshot of this. This is your index of the chapter. This is how we are going to go. This is your index for the chapter. We start with direct materials, direct labor, variable overheads, sales, and finally we come to fixed. This is your index of how we are going to go about this lesson. So let us begin without further ado, direct material variances. Let us begin without further ado, direct material variances. लेकिन यहाँ पे एक इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट ऑफ नोटिस या कॉशन आप तक पहुंचाता हूं. एक इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट ऑफ नोटिस या कॉशन आप तक पहुंचाता हूं. वो पॉइंट ये है कि what we expect may not happen exactly. There will be gaps and differences in expectations and reality. What is reality? Actual. What is expectation? Budget. For variance analysis, the budget has to be compared with actual. Why? So that we know whether we have or have not met or exceeded the expectations. Wherever the expectations have been met, the company is in profitable position and all the managers and the leaders are eligible for bonuses. Why are they eligible for bonuses? आपने कंपनी की अपेक्षा के अनुसार you performed as per the expectations of the company and have achieved a certain degree of profit. एक अच्छा मुनाफा आपने कंपनी को कमा के दिया. You have earned it for the company. You should be rewarded. If the company is making money, shouldn't the employees and the manager also make the money? Of course they should. How do they make money over and above their salary? Bonuses. तो वेरिएंस एनालिसिस कहीं ना कहीं तय करता है कि बोनस मिलना चाहिए कि नहीं मिलना चाहिए. बट फॉर दिस, इफ बजट हैज टू बी कंपेयर्ड विद एक्चुअल, देयर हैज टू बी अ यूनिफॉर्म बेस. देयर हैज टू बी अ यूनिफॉर्म बेस. Please understand this aspect. There has to be a what? There has to be a uniform base. Now let's talk about uniform base for 2 minutes so that we are able to understand. You may want to take a screenshot of this. This is a conceptually sound note to have in your beginning of understanding standard costing. This I reach out to all my January candidates who have joined me now and have probably missed out the lectures earlier. I'm sure you can listen to the lectures recordings, but this is going to be helpful for you. So kindly ensure that screenshots are taken. Now, let's just talk about two things. Let's talk about this person by name Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. Then let's talk about my personal favorite, Sachin Tendulkar. And then let's talk about everybody's current favorite, Virat Kohli. Now, when Sunil Gavaskar used to play, the bats were smaller, no helmets, no modern rules, 6 bouncers in an over, and a deadly West Indies bowling attack. A deadly West Indies bowling attack. Nobody came close to West Indies. Malcolm Marshall, then you had this one, I forget the name, Andy Roberts. you had all of these Michael Holding, you had all of these bowlers bowling. So Michael Holding, Andy Roberts, Marshall, all these guys, they were running in onto you and bowling at about 150 without a helmet with smaller bats. It was very difficult to face these players. Despite this, Sunil Gavaskar achieved 34 centuries in tests. He had 34 test match centuries and was considered to be the greatest batsman of his era. He's considered to be the greatest batsman of his era. In Sachin's time, helmets were there. Helmets had started to come actually. The bats got bigger. There were slightly modern rules. There was no T20 cricket. Over here, there was no ODI cricket. ODI came later. Over here, there was no T20 in Sachin's era. And you had a deadly South African, Australian, and Pakistan bowling attack. You have to accept it was deadly. And in all of these, I rate the Pakistan bowling attack as the best because they had the Wasim Akram, they had Waqar Younis, and they had Shoaib Akhtar. Very dangerous people. South Africa had Alan Donald, Dale Steyn. Australia, of course, had Glenn McGrath, who was always dangerous. Brett Lee, Jason Gillespie, Michael Kasparovich. There were a lot of dangerous bowlers. And of course, they had Shane Warne. Nobody used factors in Shane Warne because he's a spinner, but he was a deadly bowler to face. In Virat Kohli's era, helmets are a given. Bats are like trees. Wasim Akram says, "Adda jhad leke aate batting karne ke liye." That's how big the bats are. All modern rules apply. There is only T20, and the bowling attack is not at all deadly. It is not at all deadly. Nobody comes close to Wasim. Nobody comes close to Glenn McGrath. Nobody comes close to Shoaib Akhtar or Alan Donald. Nobody comes close to. Now, who's a better batsman? Sunil Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, or Virat Kohli? Experts argue that it is Sachin Tendulkar because he has faced some bowlers of this era and he has faced some bowlers of this era. People say Kohli is not as great as Sachin or as Gavaskar because he has not faced these deadly bowlers. So basically what happens is there is no uniform base. There is no comparison possible. There is no uniform base. There is no comparison possible. So I can't say who's better. From my heart, of course, always it will be Sachin Tendulkar, then Gavaskar, and then Virat Kohli. But it's from my heart, no. From my heart. Today, Kohli has probably better statistics than Tendulkar, maybe in some aspects. Much better statistics than Gavaskar. Gavaskar has 34 test centuries. Sachin had 51. I don't know how many Kohli has. Sachin had 49 one-day centuries. I think Gavaskar had hardly 2 or 4. Maybe 1 also he had. I'm not very sure. 1, 2 or 4. He did not have more than 4. And Virat Kohli has 48 ODI centuries already and he's got a good 4-5 years more left to play. So he is in all likelihood going to beat Sachin's record for ODI centuries. Test, we'll see. Test, we'll see. I'm not very sure about it. Well, who's better? Can't compare because of all these aspects that I told you. All of these aspects are similar when I was to talk about the following numbers that come in front of you. I have stood and made a budget at the starting of the year. And at the starting, I say that I am going to make 100 units of finished goods, which will require from A 5 units, right? Which will require from B 10 units. So I need 5 units to make 100 finished goods. I need 10 units to make 100 finished goods. This is what I understand. Now actually हुआ क्या? Actually हुआ ऐसे कि मैंने 12,000 यूनिट बना लिए. मैंने कितने यूनिट बना लिए? 12,000 यूनिट मैंने बना लिए. नो प्रॉब्लम. मैंने अगर 12,000 यूनिट बना लिए तो मुझे ए के 2600 यूनिट लग गए. कितने लग गए? 2600 यूनिट मुझे ए के लग गए और बी के मुझे 1100 यूनिट लग गए. फेयर इनफ. कैन आई कंपेयर 100 units with 12,000 units? I can't. Can I compare Tendulkar with Kohli? I can't. Can I compare Gavaskar with Kohli? I can't. The eras are different. The numbers are different. The challenges are different. It's as good as saying that. It's as good as saying that. My most famous example that I've given you multiple times, that a man called Brock Lesnar, Brock Lesnar weighs 296 or 294 pounds. If he is to fight Conor McGregor, who weighs 180 pounds, it will be a massacre. They are not in the same category. They cannot fight. Conor McGregor is very, very small in size compared to Lesnar. But if I was to place Habib, if I was to play Habib Nurmagomedov, he also weighs somewhere around 178 pounds. This fight is possible because they are in the same weight class. They are comparable. They are uniform. So what do I have to do? I have to either do one thing. Either Brock Lesnar has to lose weight, or Habib has to gain. Please understand. If Brock Lesnar has to fight Conor, what will Brock Lesnar have to do? He will have to lose weight. What will Habib do? I beg your pardon. Habib does not gain. I beg your pardon. Habib is comparable. So what do I have to do to Brock? I have to make him Habib. Brock is what you do at the starting. It is called as your static budget. And Habib is what you make out of the static budget. It is called as flexible budget. And only then it can be comparable with actual, which was your Mr. Conor McGregor. Please remember that. Now, what is that process and what do I have to do? How do I get these people to become comparable? It is common sense that 100 units cannot be compared with 12,000. So should I make 12,000 to become 100? No. You will never ever revise your actuals. You will never ever revise your actuals. Actuals को हाथ लगेगा नहीं. Revise होगा budget. What will be always, a million times always be revised. Your budget will be revised. अब इसमें प्राइमरी स्कूल का एलिमेंटल मैथमेटिक्स है और वो सिंपल लॉजिक है कि ए के लिए जब मुझे 100 यूनिट्स चाहिए थे तो मैंने 5 इस्तेमाल किए. तो टुडे आई वांट अ फिनिश्ड गुड आउटपुट ऑफ 12,000 यूनिट्स. तो मैं कितने इस्तेमाल करूं? I hope everybody understands the question. I budgeted that for 100 units of finished goods, I require raw materials 5 units. So now for 12,000 units, how many raw materials will I require? The answer is very, very simple. It will be 12,000 multiplied by 5 divided by 100, and your answer is I need 600. I need how many? I need 600. I hope everybody is with me on that. Do you understand this elementary mathematical calculation? This is the elementary math that I have done. Now, please notice one thing. I am so stubborn and adamant in my calculation that I said that for 100, I need 5. Please tell me, where did I get this 5 from? This 5 was the standard budgeted quantity as per my budget. And a budget that I make at the starting of the period is called as a static budget. What is it called as? It is called as a static budget. Now, I need to revise these quantities to make sure that my budget is comparable with actual दोनों हैव टू बी कट आउट ऑफ द सेम क्लॉथ। तो ये जो ए में 2600 यूनिट आपके लग गए हैं, are they comparable with these 600 units? The answer is yes, they are comparable with these 600 units, because you estimated that to make 100 you will need 5. So now actually आप 12,000 का झंडा गाड़ के आ चुके हो, एक्चुअली आप 12,000 अचीव कर चुके हो, यू हैव अचीव 12,000. So for that 12,000, how many you require? 600. How many you require? 600. It's a very simple concept. It's a very simple concept of basic elementary unitary mathematical calculation. Now, let us try the same exercise with P. For making 100 units of finished goods, I require 10 units of raw material B. So for making 12,000, how many will I require? The answer is 12,000 multiplied by 10 divided by 100. Your answer will be 1200. What is your answer? Your answer is 1200. So here I would like to write some statements down for you to probably get a better hang on something. You expected that for 12,000 units of finished goods, you will need 600 units, but actually you needed 2,600. Are you with me on that? So was this good or was this bad? It was bad. Why was it bad? जरूरत से ज्यादा यूनिट्स लग गए, जरूरत से ज्यादा यूनिट्स लग गए. Are you with me? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Are you with me on this? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Give me a thumbs up जिसको भी समझ में आया है. Who has understood? Give me a thumbs up. Re-explanation. Please unmute and request for a re-explanation. You will get it. Is there anybody who requires a re-explanation? Is there anybody who requires a re-explanation? Right? Okay. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead. Now look at this B. Now look at this B. In the case of B, you expected that for 12,000, you will need 1,200 units. But actually you needed how many? Only 1,100. So you needed less than what you expected. This is obviously good. This is obviously good. Does everybody understand why it is obviously good? Does everybody understand why it is obviously good? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Agreed or disagreed? Agreed or disagreed? Yes, everyone? Agreed? Yes. Let the responses keep coming. Let the responses keep coming. I hope you are able to understand. I hope you are able to understand. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get this to move ahead. Now, what did I say? I said that for 100 units, I need A. 5 units, and I need B 10 units. This is the quantity. Now, the standard price for this A is 10 per unit. How much? It is 10 per unit. And for this B, it is 8 per unit. Fair enough. What happened in the actual world? In the actual world, I manufactured 12,000 units. I manufactured how many units? I manufactured 12,000 units. And A, I required 2,600. And I got this at the rate of 4 per unit. B, I required 1,100, and this I got at the rate of 10 per unit. Now, my dear friends, as you have agreed, 100 is not comparable with 12,000. Therefore, I will make this static to become comparable with this actual by presenting here a flexible budget. Flexible budget for A and for B will ask similar questions. What are those similar questions out of A that I'm asking? I repeat, 100 units बनाने के लिए A के 5 लगे, तो 12,000 बनाने के लिए A के कितने लगेंगे? The answer to this is 600. But at the end of the day, my dear friends, this is budget. It will go at standard rates only. It will go at standard rates only. It is a budget. It is a budget. It will go at standard rates only. I hope you're with me on that. I hope you're with me on that. It will go at standard rates only. Now let's talk about B. In the case of B, what happened? You said for making 100, you need 10. So for making 12,000, you need 1200. And this will be at the rate of 8 per unit. So can I say that actually I spent 2,600 multiplied by 4 per unit, which is 10,400, and 1,100 multiplied by 10, which is 11,000, which is 21,400, was actually spent on materials. This is what actually happened. But I expected to spend 6,000, and 1,200 into 8, which is 9,600. I actually expected to spend 15,600. So on an overall basis, I feel I have spent more than expected on materials. How did I compare this? I compared my budgeted material cost minus my actual material cost. What is my budgeted material cost? 15,600. And what is my actual material cost? 21,400. So can I say that I have spent 21,400 minus this 15,600, which is I have spent 5,800 more than expected. Spent 5,800 more than expected, and this is called 5,800 adverse. My dear friends, what I have spent on materials, material cost, is your first variance that you learn in materials, that is called as material cost variance. Material cost variance is the comparison between what you thought you are going to spend on the materials versus what you have actually spent on the materials. What you thought will be total material cost versus what was actually total material cost. What is this? What you thought was the material cost. This is what you thought versus what is actual. So you spent more, it is bad, and hence it is adverse. So you have finished material cost variance. Now, of course, for material cost variance, I have to give you a formula. So first thing, very important that you have to do is you have to take a screenshot of this much part, and I will write down the formula for you. Let me know when screenshot is taken. It's important that screenshot be taken. Give me a thumbs up when it's taken so that I can move ahead. Right? I'm assuming it's taken. Now, let us go ahead. Let us derive formulas together. We have the time to do it. We have ample time. Now. So let us go so deep in the concept that any MCQ is, like a child's play for you. My dear friends, material cost variance is equal to budgeted material cost minus actual material cost, which is called in our language of standard costing as standard quantity multiplied by standard price minus actual quantity multiplied by actual price. This is the formula for material cost variance. This is the formula for material cost variance. I hope everybody has understood that I have calculated the difference between what I actually spent and what was expected to be spent. But now people will say that, look, you are not such a bad manager. What will the people say? They will say, you were supposed to get the job done in 600 units. You got it done in 2600 units. You are very bad. But then I will argue. You thought one unit will come for 10 per unit. I got one unit for 4 per unit. Say something about this. I have purchased it for cheaper. You will be like, yes, you're right. Second, you expected the job to be done in 1200. I will start and say, I will, put my hat up and say, I did it in 1100, better than what was expected. Then you will say, I expected you to do it at 8 per unit. What have you done it in 10 per unit? Not happy. I'm not happy. So there are pitfalls everywhere. Sometimes your units are going in your favor and the price is not going in your favor. But sometimes the price is going in your favor, but the units are not going in your favor. Well, this becomes a difficult aspect. I hope everybody understands this much point. Yes or no, please tell me that. Yes or no, please tell me that. Are you with me on that, guys? Yes or no? Are you with me on that? I hope everybody is understanding. This aspect, right? Let's go ahead. Kindly take a screenshot of this one. I would now like to take the things down to more serious business. What is more serious business? Here it is clear that material cost variance is dependent on two aspects. First is the price that I compared in the form of hashtag. The second was the consumption, also known as usage, which I compared in the form of exclamation mark. Again, exclamation mark. So material cost variance is a combination of material price variance and material usage variance. We enter into understanding the concept of now what is the material price variance. I request everybody to pay attention now to your first aspect of material price variance. Now let us take a look at material price variance. Important concept. Ensure your complete focus on this. What is material price variance? What is the meaning of material price variance? For how much was I supposed to buy versus for how much did I actually buy? The idea is to penalize or correct for extra amount paid while actually purchasing. What is the idea? The idea is to penalize, that is punish or correct for extra amount paid while actually purchasing, and that is why we take into consideration always actual quantity for this particular variance. That is why we always take into consideration actual quantity for this particular variance. I require that you are focused on the next bit of the explanation. Next bit of the explanation is equally important. Kindly take a screenshot of this much. Kindly take a screenshot of this much. Next bit of explanation is where I derive for you your formula. I derive for you your formula on the basis of what I just wrote on this screen for you. And what did I write for you? I asked you a question. How much was I supposed to spend, that is standard price, minus how much did I actually spend, that is actual price, applied to my actual quantity purchased, So here I'm comparing what should have been spent versus what was actually spent. I'm comparing these two. So in the case of material A, you were supposed to spend 10, but you spent 4. Is this good or is this bad? Now tell me one thing. I am talking about a cost here. So obviously my standard price, if it is greater than actual price, it is going to be favorable because I'm spending less than expected. And if my standard price is exceeded by the actual price, it is bad, which is also called as adverse. Why is it adverse? Because I'm spending more than expected. So in the case of A, I was supposed to spend 10, I spent 4, which is favorable, which is very good. But actually on how many units? I actually spent it on 2,600 units. So this is 6 multiplied by 2,600. Your answer is 15,600 favorable. In the case of B, I was supposed to spend 8. But I unfortunately spent 10. So it is obviously adverse. And on how many units? Actually, 1,100 units actually is the case. Therefore, can I say that 2 multiplied by 1100, which is 2,200, it is adverse. Now keep one thing in mind. This is nothing but minus 15,600. Favorable is plus and adverse is nothing but minus 2,200. So if I was to take a total of plus 15,600 and minus 2,200, it will be 15,600 minus 2,200. Your answer is 13,400 positive. And where it is positive, it is always favorable. So your answer is 13,400 favorable. What is your answer? Your answer is 13,400 favorable. I hope everybody has understood the calculation of material price variance. In case of multiple products, these prices have to be added together. I hope you are with me on that. Kindly give me a thumbs up, all participants, if you are understanding this aspect. Please give me a thumbs up. Let them keep flowing if you have understood. I'm getting responses from you. Well and good. Everybody seems to have understood this aspect. Now, let me go ahead. Now take screenshot. Screenshot is going to be essential. I will also make a note in this that in our example, our material price variance was 13,400 favorable. It was 13,400 favorable. Now, let's go ahead. Now, we go and speak about material consumption, also called as material usage. Now, we go and speak about material consumption, also called as material usage. Now, material usage is based on consumption. What do I mean by consumption? How much did I think I should have consumed standard quantity versus how much I actually consumed actual quantity multiplied by standard price. Why standard price? The idea here is not to penalize for price. The idea here is to penalize for consumption. The idea of this variance is to correct or punish for excessive consumption and not for the price. Therefore, I will always have a standard price whenever I'm taking into consideration the usage variance. Now over here, it is common sense. If standard quantity exceeds my actual quantity, it is good, it is favorable. And if standard quantity is less than actual quantity, it is bad, it is unfavorable. Agreed or disagreed? Please tell me that. Agreed or disagreed? Please tell me that. It's a basic arithmetical business sense. I hope everybody is understanding this concept. I hope everybody is understanding this concept. I repeat my statement that when you are consuming more in case of actual means actually you consumed less than what was expected, less than what you thought you will spend. When you consumed less than what was expected, it is good for you. It is good for you. But when you consumed more than what was expected, of course, it is bad for you. You spent more money. You are inefficient. Is everybody understanding this aspect? Kindly give me a thumbs up so that I move ahead. I've received a few responses. Now I am jogging ahead. Now let's do the calculation for this right here. So we don't need this now because now we have gotten a hang of it. So what are we talking about? We are talking about the consumption of two items. We are talking about the consumption of two items here. We are talking about the consumption of number one, material A and material B. So let's get to it. Now in case of material A, you are expected to consume 600, but you consume 2600, which is very bad at its standard price. So here it is going to be 2000, that is minus 2000 multiplied by 10, which is minus 20,000. So it is 20,000 adverse. In the case of B, you are supposed to consume 1200, but you actually consume 1100, which is good because you consume less than expected. You consume less than expected at the standard price of 8. So it is 800 favorable. This is as good as saying minus 20,000 plus 800 is minus 19,200. Is what? Is minus 19,200, which is nothing but 19,200 adverse, which is 19,200 adverse. Now, there is a rule here. And that rule is very simple. Material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage or efficiency variance. You can call it either one. Material usage variance, material consumption variance, material usage variance. You can call it anything. So material price variance in our case was 13,400 favorable, means you will call it plus 13,400, plus our material usage variance is 19,200 adverse, means you will call it minus. So it is as good as saying 13,400 minus 19,200. It will give me the answer minus 5,800. That is nothing but 5,800 adverse. And please, my dear students, check material cost variance was the difference between what I thought I should have spent and what I actually spent. It is a difference between 15,600 and 21,400, and your answer here too is minus 5,800. So this is minus 5,800, which is nothing but 5,800 adverse. It is nothing but 5,800 adverse. So material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage or efficiency variance. And it has been proven over here by our proof of theory. So here we have established that material cost variance, which is what standard total material price minus actual total material price, is nothing but material price variance plus material usage or efficiency variance, and it has been proven. I hope everybody, you are here with me on that, and you will have understood these concepts of material cost, material price, and material usage variance. I hope everybody is understood. Yes or no? Please tell me that. Yes or no? Please tell me that. Does everyone understand these concepts? Are they crystal clear for you all? Kindly give me a thumbs up or a response in the message box. I'm awaiting your responses. All right, I'm getting thumbs ups here to show that people have understood. In case there is anybody who have a doubt, so good time to speak up. Please speak up so that I can hear you. No doubts, I move ahead. No doubts, I move ahead. No doubts, I'm getting a thumbs up there. Now, I'm stopping this example here so that I'm able to draw a chart. What is the chart that I'm drawing? Now here, I'm talking about direct material, of course. Direct material cost variance. Direct material cost variance is given by standard total material cost. Standard total material cost minus actual total material cost, which is standard quantity multiplied by standard price minus actual quantity multiplied by actual price. This is direct material cost variance, which is broken down into two further categories, which is material price variance, which asks you the question, how much should I have brought it for and how much did I buy it for? This is nothing but standard price minus actual price multiplied by actual quantity. And then I have material usage or material efficiency variance. So material usage variance is standard quantity minus actual quantity multiplied by standard price. Material usage variance is further broken down into two more variances. The first is called material mix variance, and the second one is called material yield or sub usage variance. What is it called? It is called material mix or material sub usage variance. In the next part of our lecture, we are going to now dwell deeper into mix and yield variances. Till this point, I hope everybody has understood. This chart will play an important role in your conceptual learning. I request that you all please take a screenshot of the same. Screenshot taken? Yes? All right, guys. Let's take a break of 5 minutes. Let's take a break of 5 minutes. I would just like to have a glass of water or something similar. And yeah, let's continue within 5 to 7 minutes. So we are at 12:07 a.m., 12:15 a.m. we regroup. Is that all right, guys? Now we continue our discussion. And we take it towards material mix and material yield variance. Now, the first thing is, why do we need a mix variance? Why do we need a yield variance? So first, let us understand why it is that we need a material mix variance. Let's get into that concept first. Now, what is material mix? First of all, let us understand that concept. Now, today, if I was to say that there is a finished good, and this particular finished good that I am having, has two inputs to it. The first is input A and the second is input B. There are two inputs that are there for this particular finished good. One is input A and other is input B. Now, what is the situation? That for making, let us say, 1000 units of finished good, I require 500 of A and I require 500 of B. This is the input ratio. What is this? This is the input ratio. And what is the input ratio? It is 1:1. How 1:1? 500:500. I hope everybody understands this. Yes or no, please tell me that. Agreed or disagreed? Thumbs ups? Agreed or disagree, guys? Thumbs ups? 1:1 ratio. 1:1 ratio, clearly seen. 1:1 ratio. Now, actually what happened now? Actually, I made 10,000 units. I made how many units? I made 10,000 units. And in the process of making these 10,000 units, A, I used 4,000, and B, I used 6,000. And I made 10,000 such units. Over here, if you notice, the input ratio is 2:3. 4:6, 2:3. This is what I noticed. Okay. Okay. Let's do the calculations ahead. In material mix, always take actual as base. What is my actual output? 10,000. Okay. Now, if I wanted an actual output of 10,000 as per my original mix, what would be the ratio of A and B? 5,000 and 5,000. A, I should have used 5,000, but in reality, I used 4,000. Good or bad? Good. कितना A use होना चाहिए था? How much A should I have used? 5,000. How much did I use? 4. I used less. I used less than what is needed. It is a very, very good thing. It is a very, very good thing. How much B should I have used? 5,000. How much did I use? 6,000. I used less or more? I used more than what is expected. That is bad. That is bad. So here it can be seen that I am comparing standard input mix on an actual output base. This is called as material mix variance. I want to see that as per my original planning, what should have been the inputs of the materials for achieving this actual level of output. ये एक्चुअल लेवल ऑफ आउटपुट हासिल करने के लिए मैं अगर मेरे स्टैंडर्ड से जाता तो मुझे कितना इनपुट लगता? But sir, why are you saying that there are two different types of materials? Of course there are. I'll give you a standing example right here, right now. Please pay attention to this example. This will justify that inputs required are different even if the company is the same. Let's talk about Cadbury dairy milk. I'm assuming every Indian child has had the privilege of having a Cadbury dairy milk in their childhood or whenever. At least once everybody has had. So there's a Cadbury dairy milk shots. These are these small chocolate balls, very tasty, very interesting. Then there's an eclair. It's a toffee. It's a toffee full of caramel, very tasty. Then there's 5-star, my personal favorite all time. There's fruit and nut, my mother's personal favorite of all times. Then there's roast almond. There's crackle. There's cola. There's a cola flavor, by the way. I don't know if you know, but there is a cola flavor. Then there is silk. And then there is the regular dairy milk, which comes in various sizes. 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 40 rupees, 100 rupees, so on and so forth. And there are many other cookie cream. I think there is Oreo flavor. All that stuff is also there. You tell me one thing. Now, if there is one factory and that factory is producing only fruit and nut and silk, and they are making 10,000 units of this. My dear friends, will fruit and nut have its own input in this total 10,000 units and silk have its own input in this total 10,000 units? Yes. This will be the budget that you go by. That in this I am budgeting 4,000 units of fruit and nut inputs and 6,000 units of silk inputs. You achieved a 10,000 output, but in this you had 2,000 of fruit and nut inputs and 8,000 of silk inputs. I am trying to see what I budgeted for fruit and nut as an input, is it accurate? And what I budgeted for silk as an input, is it accurate? Are you understanding? Yes or no? Please tell me that. The magic of time, my dear students, is that with our October batch, we discussed the derivation of the formula. Today, I am justifying that derivation for you by giving you the Cadbury example. Are you understanding costing and its logic? Yes or no? Please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a thumbs up. Are you with me? Do you understand why we need a material mix variance in the first place? Everybody who's understood, please give me a thumbs up. Everybody who's understood, please give me a thumbs up. Are you understanding that in a factory, you will make 10,000 units? I'm not saying no. But you had expected 4,000 inputs for fruit and nut and 6,000 for silk. But in reality, you got only 2,000 for fruit and nut and 8,000 for silk. So there is a difference in the consumption of inputs for fruit and nut. There is some adverse and some favorable. There is some adverse and some favorable over here. I need to calculate how much, because then I will hold responsible the manager of fruit and nut, and I will hold responsible the manager of silk for their performances that they have achieved in the year. Are you with me on that? Yes or no? Please give me a thumbs up. Yes or no? Please give me a thumbs up. Do we understand this concept? Yes, guys? All right. Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead to the next part of discussion. Now, next part of discussion is clearly going to be a numerical problem that we solve. So without wasting much time, I'm going to straight away jump into a set of questions that have been compiled for you. Right? Let us get into what those questions are and let us see where we are coming from. Now here, the rule of the game is simple. I want you to stay on unmute and I want you to blabber out the answer so that I know that that particular student is understanding. And in case there are doubts that arise on this concept, people can go and watch this video and they can get this done for themselves. Now let us understand. For making 10 kilograms of a product called Chemco, the standard material requirement is given to you. This is nothing but your standard budget. So Chemco for 10 kilograms requires 8 kg of A and 4 kg of B. Suddenly, I have acidity. Why do I have acidity? Please pay attention. My static budget states that my inputs are A and B, 8 kg and 4 kg. So my total inputs are 12 kg. Do you agree or do you disagree? Agree. But out of this, my actual output or my standard output, I beg your pardon, is only 10 kgs. So what about this 2 kg? This is a waste. I predict, I estimate, I foresee at the starting of the production period that I will waste 2 kgs behind every 10 kgs that I am producing. So you can say that 1/6 of the inputs, that is 1/6 is 16.67%. Yes, 16.67% of the inputs are wasted. How did I get 16.67%? 2 kgs on 12 kgs is nothing but 16.67%. Are you 16.67? That is 2 by 3, 6 by 7. I wrote it by mistake. It's 16 and 2/3 percentage. This is the static budget. For how many units? For 10 kilograms. For how many kilograms? For 10 kilograms. 6 per kilogram, 48. Right? But I'm not interested in writing 48 because I can see clearly here that I'm working on 1,000 kilograms actual. During April, this much was produced. What is this? Were produced? Actual. So let's take actual. For actual, I have A and I have B. How much actual I needed? I needed 750. And here I needed 500 kg. How much input? 1250 kg. And I got how much output? I got 1000 kg of output. Means I wasted how much? I wasted 250 kg. This is at the rate of 7 and this is at the rate of 5. So this is 2500 and 750 multiplied by 7 is 5250. It's 5250. So I required 5250 plus 2500, which is 7750 worth of cost of material. This is what I actually spent on materials. So far, I have only analyzed the question for you. I have not yet started solving variances. Step 1 of any variance question will always be compare static budget volume with actual volume. Where static budget volume is not equal to actual volume, step 2, create a flexible budget. Flexible budget will be actual volume at standard rates. It will be actual volume at standard rates, and it is this revised flexible budget, this box of flexible budget, this table of flexible budget, that is the most important input in this question. Now this will also be your actual was for how many units? It was for 1000 kg. It was for 1000 kg. So my dear students, if I want an output of 1000 kg, if I want an output of 1000 kg, first of all, how much total input will I require? Question mark. So 1000 multiplied by 12 divided by 10. My answer here will be I need 1200 kg of input as per my budget, as per my standard, as per my budget, as per my standard. And here it is clearly asked to you that in an input of 12 kg, in an input of how many kg? In an input of 12 kg, I have A of 8 kg. So in an input of 1200 kg, how many kg of A will I have? Your answer will be 1200 divided by 12 multiplied by 8. It will be 800 kg of A will be required at the rate of 6 per kg, thereby making it 4800 of material cost for A. You have estimated that for A you are going to spend 4800, but in reality how much did you spend? 5250. So you spent 450 rupees more on A. Agreed or disagreed? Please tell me that. Agreed or disagreed? Please tell me that. Give me a thumbs up for all those who agree. Give me a thumbs up for all those who agree. Yes, guys. I hope everybody is convinced. I hope everybody is convinced by the basic calculation, basic arithmetic calculation. Everybody present, 555, 32, 7A, 47. Let me note. I hope you're understanding. I hope you're understanding. I hope you're understanding this concept. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes? Yes. Now, in an input of 12 kg, B is 4 kg. So an input of 1200 kg, B will be how much? Obviously, your answer will be 400 kg. How did I get it? 1200 into 4 divided by 12. This will be how much? It will be 400 kg at the rate of 4 per kg. So this is how much? This is 1600. Well, I should have spent 4800 plus 1600, which is 6400 on materials. But how much did I actually spend? 7,750. My dear friends, material cost variance for you is available right here in this example. The difference between what you should have spent and what you have actually spent, 6,400 minus 7750, your answer is minus 1350. This is nothing but adverse. This is nothing but adverse. Now here I would like to talk to you from the angle of MCQs, please. I would like to talk to you from the angle of MCQs. Now this is going to be a rather deep discussion. And I require everybody to be at their concentrative best. First, let me write the formula for you that material cost variance is equal to standard quantity multiplied by standard price minus actual quantity multiplied by actual price, which is equal to 6,400 minus 7750, which is 1350 adverse, or it is minus 1350, or it is minus 1350. Now, I would like to ask you a question. Suppose you have an MCQ with only this much data. This is your MCQ. Please understand your MCQ. Your MCQ says standard material cost is equal to 6,400. Material cost variance is 1350 adverse. What is actual material cost? They'll ask you, what is actual material cost? So my dear friends, please keep one thing in mind. Material cost variance is equal to standard cost minus actual cost. So this is minus 1350 and this is 6,400 minus actual cost. So minus AC will go there and minus 1350 will come here. Therefore, this will become 7750 as your actual cost. This is the way they can ask you MCQs within your multitude of study materials of Sargent Becker, Hochgleim, Wiley, etc., all of which we are going to refer to in our journey to January. In our journey to January, we are going to refer to all of this. Now, my dear friends, this is how they will ask you cheeky MCQs. Does everybody understand how MCQs can come on this? See, this is for your concept. This lecture is your concept lecture. Let the MCQ lecture come, we'll have multitudes of these questions. Are you with me? Does everybody understand what is the mindset you require for the MCQs of standard costing? Agreed or disagreed? Students, are you with me on that? That's the mindset I need you to have. The conceptual clarity has to be so thorough. For my students. That the moment they see only this much, this equation automatically pops into their brains and they automatically calculate this only by the help of a simple calculator. You don't even need to write on that extra piece of paper that Prometrics Private Limited will give you. You don't need it. Just press buttons on your calculator. I hope you're with me on that. Now, let's go ahead. So material cost variance is done. I hope screenshots have been taken. Material cost variance is done. Now I jump over to material price variance. Material price variance is simple. In this, कितने में खरीदना चाहिए था और कितने में खरीद के आ गए. How much should I have purchased it for? How much should I have purchased A for? I should have purchased for 6. How much did I purchase for? 7. Good or bad? Obviously bad. And it is price, so it will always be actual quantity multiplied by 750. So this is 750 adverse. What is material price variance? Material price variance is standard price minus actual price multiplied by actual quantity. What is material price variance? Standard price minus actual price multiplied by actual quantity. B. What is the standard price of B? The standard price of B is 4, means I should have purchased it for 4, but how much did I purchase it for 5? That is bad for me. For how many units? 500 units. 500 adverse. This is 1250 adverse, a total of a material price variance. A material price variance is 1250 adverse, and here there is a variety of an MCQ question that can be asked. And what is the variety of that MCQ question that can be asked? Please pay attention. Material cost variance is 1350 adverse. Material price variance is 1250 adverse. What is material usage variance? My dear students, we have established proof of concept that material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. Material cost variance is 1350 adverse. Adverse means negative. So minus 1350 adverse means negative is equal to minus 1250 plus x plus x. X is equal to minus 100, means material usage variance is going to be 100 adverse. It is going to be what? It is going to be 100 adverse, and now that is the test that I put my calculations to. If I am really correct, that answer has to come. Otherwise, I have goofed up this question. Keep that much in mind. Keep that much in mind. Please take a screenshot of this. Please take a screenshot of this much on the screen. This is going to be helpful for you. This is going to be helpful for you. Why? Because this is the MCQ thought process. Ensure that it has been taken. I am moving ahead now. I am not confirming whether it is taken. I am moving ahead on the assumption that it has been taken. Now forward yourself into material usage variance calculation. What is the formula? The formula is कितना consume करना चाहिए था minus actually कितना consume किया, and we are not penalizing you for price, we are penalizing you for consumption. So I will take standard price. So in the case of A, my standard quantity should have been 800 kgs. Okay. But I consumed 750, which is good. I consumed less than required at the standard rate of 6. So this is 800 minus 750, which is 50 multiplied by 6, which is 300. And this is 300 favorable in the case of A. In the case of B, I was supposed to go in for 400, but unfortunately I had to do 500. That is adverse, means I consume 100 more at the rate of 4, which is nothing but 400 adverse. My dear students, 300 favorable means plus, 400 adverse means minus. Your answer will be minus 100, means this is 100 adverse. How much is this? This is 100 adverse, and this is exactly what we had calculated. Therefore, proven that material price variance plus material usage variance is equal to material cost variance. Material cost variance is minus 1350, material usage variance is minus 100, and material price variance is minus 1250. I have calculated material cost, I have calculated material price, I have calculated material usage, and now the most awaited calculations of material mix and material yield are going to come your way. I am your way. Right. There is a doubt. The doubt is coming that the calculation is wrong. Can you speak up? Let us see. It is possible. Human error. It can be subjected to a human error. Please tell me where you feel that a mistake has been made. Can you please highlight it for me? I'll check it up. Can you help me?
Over the above top में the input is 12 kg and आपने वो आउट ए के अगेंस्ट 8 kg लिखा है, जबकि यहाँ पर रेशियो डिफाइन होता है इनपुट वर्सेस आउटपुट, राइट? सो ए का इनपुट 8 है और आउटपुट 10 kg है, तो यहाँ पर 1000 kg
I am checking. Oh, yes. 1 second. I am checking here. See, your doubt is right. What is your doubt? Your doubt is, why aren't you taking this 1000 over here? Am I right? Correct?
Yes, sir, because
Hold
1000
on,
का
hold on, hold on, hold on. Is that your doubt? Is that much the doubt?
नो सर, अगेन ऊपर वाला जो इक्वेशन लिखा है आपने इनपुट वर्सेस आउटपुट का, जो 12 वर्सेस 8 केजी वाला है, इट शुड बी 8 वर्सेस 10, राइट? बिकॉज 8 का इनपुट गया, 10 का आउटपुट आया है.
Okay. Can we discuss this?
या श्योर सर.
Sure. Can we take a screenshot of this? And you give me these numbers again. Very interesting conversation we are going to have, but we need space for it. Shall we discuss?
श्योर सर.
Okay. Let's pay attention. Fantastic question. Let's pay attention. A was 8 kg and B was 4 kg. This is how much? 12 kg. Correct? Agreed or disagreed? And this gives you an output of 10 kg. So 2 kg was wasted. Agreed? Now, you have made how many kgs of actual? 1000 kgs. But actual, you can't do any calculations. You have to see what is actual. Actual, A is how much? 750 and B is how much? 500. 1250. So can I say that 250 kg is my wastage? Agreed or disagree? Agreed? Yes? Speak up. Agreed? This is actual. This is actual. Now, my assumption is, see here, I want output of how much? 1000. Correct? So here, can I write 1000 kg? Comparable? Agreed?
Yes, yes.
100%. Okay. As per standard, will it be correct if I write 1250 here? No, it will not be correct. It will be wrong.
Yes, sir, yes.
So I will take, my question is, in 12 kg of input, I am getting 10 kg of output. So for 1000 kg of output, how many kgs of input I need?
Perfect. Yes.
Agreed? Now, now are these two uniform? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now in 12 kg of input, I have 8 kg of A. So in 12,000, how many I should have?
Mm-hmm. Got it, sir. Got it.
800, no?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 12 kg, I have 4 kg. How many I should have? 400. If I make the error of taking this 1000, my output over here will come less than 1000 kg. The error will be 12 to 10. I have taken over here only directly 1000. I have taken over here only directly 1000. So my wastage will be 1000 multiplied by 2 divided by 12. My answer is 167. And it will be 1000 minus 167. I will get 833 over here. What will I get over here? I will get 833 over here. Are they uniform? No, they are not uniform. You understand the concept?
Yes, sir.
I maintained uniformity in the ultimate output, thereby automatically ensuring uniformity throughout all my inputs. Is your doubt cleared?
Yes, sir.
Very good question. But are you satisfied? Now you tell me that. Not just
Yes,
because.
sir, yes. No, no, no. Satisfied. Yes.
Sure? Okay.
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay. Now let us see magically if I can get that old khichdi back. Let us see. Huh? If I can get that back, then I am saved. Yes, I am saved. Okay? I am saved. So you are convinced that now this is a correct calculation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me go ahead now. Now comes the real talking point, the main event, that is mixed variance. Now what? Mixed variance. See, this much now normally every student is able to do. But when it comes to mix, they get scared, they get confused. So now we are once and for all going to kill that confusion. We are going to kill that confusion. Standard mix is for input. Repeat, standard mix is for what? Input. Are you with me? Standard mix is for what? Ladies and gentlemen, what is it for? Input. I'm not able to hear the word input. Standard mix is for what? Input. Are you with me on that? Give me a thumbs up. Is for what? Is for input. What is it for? Input. Okay. I am interested in asking my manager a question. The question I'm asking my manager is, okay, look, I know today you put in an actual input of 1250. And in that A and B, in that A you used 750 and B you used 500. But if I have gone as per my original input ratio, how much A and how much B would I require to use? In the ratio 2:1. 8 and 4 is 2:1. I hope everybody agrees to this statement. So divide 1250 by 3. I get the answer here 417 because this is 1 by 3 and this is 2 by 3. A is 8, matlab A is 2 by 3 and B is 1 by 3. Are you with me on that? So A is how much? 1250 into 2 divided by 3. So this is 833. Now, did I penalize my manager for saying that 1250 should not have been your input? No, I did not. That 1250 should have been your input. So I also took it 1250. I am comparing it on the actual input base right now. On what base? Actual input bases are being compared right now. Actual input bases are being compared right now. But this is my standard mix. As per my standard, how much A should I have had? 833. So dear manager, you want to put 1250 input? Take it. You should have used 833 of A. How much did you use of A? 750. Good job. You used less than expected. Dear manager, you want to take 1250 kgs? Take it. How much B have you used? 500. How much should you have used? 470. You have not done a good job. You should have used 417, but you have actually used 500. That's bad. It's bad on your. The manager says, come again, explain me again. The management says, sure, why not? Management says, we are not here to penalize you. We are not here to penalize you on, one second. We are not here to penalize you on how much is your, just a second. What does management say? Management says, we are not here to penalize you on how much is your actual consumption. What is your actual consumption? 750, 500, 1250. We are not here to actually penalize you on this. As per our understanding, any time when inputs are put, these inputs have to be put in the ratio 2:1 between A and B. In the ratio 2:1. Now, dear manager, you want to use 1250 kgs? Okay. Use 1250 kgs. We are allowing you. But this input ratio that you have actually done will be as per our standard. What we are saying if you want 1250, it should be in the ratio 2:1. So 1250 divided by 3, it is how much? 417. Why do I say divided by 3? Because it is 1250 into 1 by 3 and 1250 into 2 by 3. So this will be 833 and this is 417. So material mix variance is calculated on a base of the actual input. We are not correcting the manager for consumption of actual input. We are checking efficiency for the quantity of, this is a very important word, quantity of inputs in the actual total input. The question is कितना होना चाहिए था? Versus actually कितना है? Versus actually कितना है? Please understand. कितना होना चाहिए था? 833. Actually कितना है? 750. Good or bad? Good. कितना होना चाहिए था? 417. कितना है? 500. Very bad. You have exceeded what the ratio should be. Is everybody understanding this particular aspect? Give me a thumbs up now. Yes or no? I'm waiting for responses. I'm waiting for responses from all. I'm waiting for responses from all. In case you are not able to understand, I request you to specifically stop the lecture. So my assumption is that whoever has given me a thumbs up has understood, and whoever has not has also understood, because I am not getting a doubt in this calculation so far. Right? Now, I request that you take a screenshot. I request that you take a screenshot. I request that you take a screenshot. I hope it's taken. This is the real meat of the matter. This is the real masala of the matter. Now I rub this and I go towards the calculation. Now comes the very simple calculation. Please focus. What is the formula? Standard mix for actual input minus actual mix for actual input multiplied by standard price. Sir, what is the meaning of this? A. What is the standard mix of A for actual input? 833. What is the actual mix? 750. What is the standard price of A? 6. Standard price is given. This is your budget. B. What is the standard mix for actual input for B? And for B, what is the actual? 500. Standard price? 4. So 833 minus 750 multiplied by 6, which will give you how much? 498. Adverse or favorable? Of course favorable. Why? You have consumed A less than what you expected. 417 minus 500 multiplied by 4. Favorable or adverse, sir? Adverse, because we have consumed B more than what is expected. So 498 minus 332, my answer will be 166. Favorable. This was material mix variance. What was this? This was material mix variance, in which you are taking standard mix for actual input and actual mix for actual input, where actual input is your base. Actual input is your base, my dear ladies and gentlemen. Are you understanding the calculation? Kindly give me a thumbs up, yes or no. I am waiting for responses. I am waiting for responses. I am waiting for responses. Yes, yes, I'm getting thumbs ups from students. Yes. Any doubts? Any doubts? No, no, none so far. None so far. Okay, okay. Now I go to the next one. Now I go to the next one. Now, my dear friends, because of constraint of space on the board or the writing instrument, or you know, like whatever you choose to call it, or like, you know, whatever you choose to call it, I'm going to have to rub this off. Yeah, I'm going to have to rub this one off. So I hope you all are paying attention. I hope you all are paying attention and that this has been copied down. Yes, guys. I hope this has been copied down. I go ahead. I'm rubbing this off. Now let us come back to the starting of the story. In the starting, the boss said, let's talk about making 10 kgs. बॉस ने क्या बोला? 10 किलो बनाएंगे. ए इसमें 8 केजी लगेगा, बी इसमें 4 केजी लगेगा. मेरा 12 केजी का इनपुट आएगा, 2 केजी मेरा वेस्ट होएगा, मेरे को 10 केजी का आउटपुट मिलेगा. A will come at the rate of 6 and B will come at the rate of 4. Actual world, what happened? Actual world, you took out an output of 1,000 kgs. How much kgs? 1,000 kgs. Okay. This 1,000 kg is comparable with these 10 kgs because they are both outputs. So I will write over here 1,000 kg. As per unitary mathematics, this has to be 12. This has to be, I beg your pardon, this has to be 1,200 kgs. So my 200 kgs are lost. So my A, I will need 800 kgs and B, I will need 400 kgs at the rate of 6 and at the rate of 4 respectively. What did actually happen? A, I took 750 and B, I took 500, 1250. This is at the rate of 7 and this is at the rate of 5. Fair enough. This is what happened. Now material mix variance happened. In material mix, what happened? In material mix variance, what happened? Actual input was base. So what did the manager get punished for? The manager got rewarded or punished for his input, individual input consistency. Please pay attention. Individual input consistency. What is individual input? First individual input A, second individual input B. How much A he is putting, is that consistent? Okay, it is consistent. How much B is putting, it is consistent, it is consistent. Refer to the screenshot. Now I'm saying no, I'm not interested in individual input consistency at all. I'm not interested in individual input consistency at all. Then what are you interested in? I am interested in actual input consistency with standard input consistency. What is my standard total input? My dear sir, it is 1200 kgs. My dear manager, how much was your actual total input? Sir, it is 1250 kgs. How much? 1250 kg. You are an inefficient person. You should have done the work in 1200, but you took 1250. Yes, sir, I made mistake. You are an inefficient person. You should have spent 4,800 and 1,600, which is total 6,400. You should have spent on 1200 kg. So on an average standard price. Average standard price is how much? 6,400 total divided by what is the total input? This is dollars and this is kgs. So this is dollars per kg for those many kg. So what is your answer? It is 50 multiplied by 6,400 divided by 1,200. Your answer comes 267 adverse. Your answer comes 267 adverse. What did I punish the manager for? See, in the earlier material mix, I punished him for these individual inputs. I checked these individual inputs. I checked individual inputs. I said, okay, you are 1250. Chal, we'll do 1250. I told him. I said, in actual world, you took 750 of A and B, you took 500. Over here, you took 833 you were supposed to take. And here you are supposed to take 417. I penalized you for these actual inputs. Not for this. I did not penalize you for taking more than what you were supposed to take. I actually went with your tantrum. I said, okay, 1250 na 1250. Chal khush rahe. Main internal mistakes pakadta hu. But now I'm saying, no more of your tantrum. I want to see this. You are supposed to use how much? 1200? How much you use? 1250? Punished. Standard price, average, 6,400 for how much? 1200 kg. How much for 1 kg? 6,400 divided by 1200. Your answer is 5.33 per kg. For how many kgs adverse? 50 kg adverse. Your answer is 266.66666, 267 adverse. My dear friends, what was this? This was your material yield or sub usage variance. What was this? This was material yield or material sub usage variance. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? But here there is one more important aspect to be discussed, and that is the proof of concept of totality. Kindly take a screenshot of this. Kindly take a screenshot of this. I hope it's been taken. I hope it's been taken. I'm erasing for proof of concept of totality. Proof of concept of totality in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. Material cost variance as per our example. Material cost variance as per our example was 1350 adverse. You can check in your screenshots. Material price variance. Material price variance in our case was 1250 adverse. Material usage variance in our case was 100 adverse, and here it was proven that material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. But material usage variance is equal to material mix variance and material yield variance, where material mix variance as per my calculations, our calculations are 166 favorable, and material yield was exactly 267 adverse. You can round it off as 266 adverse. And here you can see that this is 100 adverse, thereby making your material yield variance 100 adverse. So material yield variance is equal to material mix variance plus material yield variance. This proof of concept, this is your proof of concept which has been established, and this same proof of concept I will be harping on it labor variances also. My dear students, with this calculation that I have presented in front of you, we have finished our discussion for the calculation aspect of material variances cover to cover. Material variances have been thoroughly discussed as far as we are concerned. Material variances have been thoroughly discussed. Yes, material mix variances, material yield variance. Okay, I have written this error in writing. This is material usage variance. I'm so sorry. This is material usage variance. This is nothing but material usage variance. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now there have to be some theory points that I have accumulated for you. There are some theory points that I have accumulated for you, and I would like you to pay attention to these theory points, because now these are your essays and your other MCQs. So shall we regress to that? Kindly take a screenshot of this. Kindly take a screenshot of this, and we move ahead to again conceptual discussion. We move ahead again to conceptual discussion, and now we are talking about first material price variance. Who is responsible? Purchase manager is responsible. What is the target of this purchase manager? The target of purchase manager is to buy as cheap as possible. Purchase manager is interested in price or quality? He is interested in price. He is interested only in price. Are you with me? Yes or no? So material purchase manager will be judged on how cheaply he or she or they procure the materials. My dear friends, here you need to understand, cheaper the materials purchased, higher the profit of the company, higher the bonus of the manager. Cheaper the material purchased, higher the profit of the company, and higher the bonus of the manager. Are you with me on that? Are you with me on that? Yes or no? You save money by buying cheap materials. We get more profit. We'll give you higher bonus. Very simple. Give and take. You buy cheap for us, save our cost. We will make more profit. We will give you bonus. Do you understand this aspect? Yes or no? Please give me a thumbs up for that. Give me a thumbs up for that. Yes or no? I am expecting your responses. I'm waiting for your responses. Right, guys? Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Now, next. He is motivated to buy cheaper materials so that standard price always stays greater than actual price. But what will happen because of this? This will lead to a compromise in the quality of the materials. If the quality of the materials is poor, there will be higher wastage and the laborer will require more time to produce as lot is wasted. If materials are cheaper, if they are good on terms of material price variance, so if material price variance is generally favorable, material usage variance will be adverse and labor efficiency variance will be adverse. We will discuss this during labor because labor will take more time than expected because the more wastage is happening. This is the inverse relationship between material price variance, usage variance, and labor efficiency variance. If material price variance is adverse, it shows you that standard price is less than actual price. You have purchased the costly materials, they are of a good quality. So material usage variance will be favorable because there will be a less wastage. There will be a less wastage, and where there is less wastage, laborer will need lesser time. So your labor efficiency variance will then become adverse. Will become favorable. So it is safe to say that material price variance and material usage variance are normally inverse. In both cases, they can come inverse. You have got idiots working. You have got a really bad purchase manager. That's also okay. I'm not saying no, but this is ideal scenario. This is what? Ideal scenario. Where you buy cheap, wastage is there. Where you buy expensive, less wastage is there. Basic concept, simple funda. I hope everybody understands this particular aspect. Yes or no? Please give me a thumbs up. Yes or no, please give me a thumbs up. Do we understand this? Do we understand this? And of course, vice versa. My dear friends, you are aware, for all those of us who have attended the October lectures, that this is a basis of asking multiple MCQs. Please agree that multiple MCQs in study materials like Sargent and Becker have been asked on this. Multiple MCQs have been asked in the exam support package on this very concept. Also remember that this very concept for labor has featured in your current attempt of October 2023. So I don't expect them to ask you October 2023, January 2024 labor. But if they change their mind and they come to either variable overheads or they come to material we have duly done. It is not just the MCQs, but it is also the essay that we have to prepare. So we are preparing our essay type question also over here for January. And our essay type question of how are material variances internally related, how are they internally related is completed by the help of this discussion. Agreed or disagreed? Please give me that. Give me a thumbs up. Yes or no? Do we understand this concept, ladies and gentlemen? Do we understand this concept? Yes or no? Please tell me that. Everybody understands? I am getting only one response. If there is a doubt, I will happily discuss it again. Okay, I am getting more thumbs ups. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I believe we have understood. Kindly take a screenshot of this. This is a gold mine for essay questions. The gold mine for essay questions. Yes, guys? Taken? Now, I would like to draw your attention. I would like to draw your attention to I'd like to draw your attention now to your chapter of standard costing. I'd like to draw your attention to this chapter. In your entire syllabus, I would believe that performance management has an overall weightage of 20%, as is evidenced by Becker and Sargent textbooks. There arises no debate upon that, and that has been proven by the exam patterns again and again. The essay questions have a high chance of occurrence. At least I would say 3 to 4 out of 7, if I was to put a ratio that way, have gotten a standard costing question, a performance management question. So what is it that we are going to cover in our journey over here? We will be covering flexible budget, numerical plus theory when we start doing the MCQs. Material variances questions we will be covering from, of course, multiple leading materials. Then we go to labor, we go to overhead, we go to sales, miscellaneous questions, and essay questions with online support will be covered for the entire chapter. But here, while we are covering, we have taken a mix. Currently, your mix is at this moment, these are Sargent materials. We will be adding Becker to these materials as well. We'll be adding Hawk to these materials as well. If possible, I'll be adding Gleim to these materials as well. And that will be classwork plus homework mix, where homework has to be duly submitted. And based on your homework submission, now I will entertain the doubts. You can't say, I have a doubt, I didn't do the homework. Sorry, boss, this is not grade school. You have a doubt, tell me where, and we do it together. Are we understanding where we are at? Are we understanding where we are at? Are we comfortable? Right, guys? With this, today's discussion of material variances is over. I will not drag you into MCQs today. Tomorrow will be a focused discussion on flexible budget and material related variances MCQs. We'll be wrapping up material. Then in the next session, we will not need such a long discussion for labor. We will quickly finish off the labor conceptual discussion. And in the very next lecture, I mean next to next lecture, we will get into labor as well. Thank you so much for your time, patience, and attention. Tomorrow, same time, we continue with MCQs.